Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 57, where I played against the Evans Gambit. So, like it's the same opening as last time, but I have the black side this time instead of the white side. And it was a short game, but because of the coincidence of getting the same opening 2 games in a row here, I had to upload it. So my opponent starts with e4. I go e5. Knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to c4 here is the Italian game, and I play bishop c5. The other main move is knight f6, the 2 knights defense, but bishop c5 is okay. And then my opponent plays b4. Other ideas here in the Italian game are c3 and d4, or just d3 right away, going for a small center. Gioco pianissimo, they call it sometimes. But b4 is an interesting idea, and the idea is after I take the pawn, you could ignore it, I suppose, but it seems okay to take. White gets to kick your bishop with the move c3, and then play d4 and get a big center and gain a tempo on your bishop. But you can go to work right away, undermining the center by taking the d-pawn, and he can't take back immediately. He's got to castle first because there's this pin on the pawn. So he castles. And then in the last game, my opponent played this move knight f6. So I just thought I would try it and see how it worked from the black side. I think I normally play d6 here, which looks like it's the main move. D takes c3 is called, I believe, the compromised defense, and it's not considered that great. You're up 2 pawns, but white has a lot of counterattack, and I don't know of any simple way to neutralize that attack, unlike the Danish gambit, where there's techniques I'm aware of that simplify pretty easily. So anyway, knight f6 is a different way of playing, and I thought it was interesting, so I tried it out. And what's funny is my opponent played e5, which is the same thing I played when I was faced with this as white. In the postmortem of the last video, I was thinking bishop a3 might be a more interesting try. So if we put that on the board as a new variation, and then one thing I was wondering about is what happens if you actually take that pawn, because it hangs a pawn, so you are 2 pawns up. And it looks like bishop d5 from white, just immediately attacking that knight. And what if the knight retreats back to f6? Rook e1 check is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Rook e1 check, knight e7, bishop takes e7. Ah, yes. He's coordinating these pieces on that e7 square. So that's a pretty deadly check. So if you take that pawn, you need to defend it. You need to defend your knight instead of moving it away. So you play f5 here. And then rook e1, pinning that knight. So it looks pretty dangerous. So d6 to stop the pressure from that bishop. It looks like that's an advantage for white. So it's not recommended. Not recommended to take that pawn after bishop a6. It looks like d3 is or d6. After bishop a3, d6 looks like the normal move and the way to put up the strongest resistance. Okay, but let's go back to the game. In the game I played, my opponent played e5, and well, we can continue to look at the opening book. It's interesting that from here we pretty much followed the opening book. So d5, counterattacking on the bishop, and then taking on f6, taking on c4, taking on g7, rook g8, and rook e1 check, which bishop g5 and rook e1 check are the 2 computer recommendations here. If you look at it, it has basically it's the same variation, either rook e1 check followed by bishop g5 or bishop g5 followed by rook e1 check. So those are the 2 ideas for white in this position. Now we're out of the book. So my opponent played rook e1 check. I go bishop e6, logical defense, and then he immediately makes a mistake by playing knight takes d4. And this was a bit of an instructive moment if you listen to the video, the live video where I'm talking, I'm immediately thinking about, oh, look, he's attacking my bishop. It's only defended by a pawn, and so maybe I need to move my queen somewhere to defend the bishop. And I start trying to find moves for my queen, and it's only a little while later that I notice, well, hey, wait a second. His knight is not hanging, but I can take his knight. I didn't notice how strong that was at first, but I just noticed, well, I could take his knight. And then I don't have to worry about defending this bishop with the queen, because none of those moves were looking very appetizing. And then as I looked at this move, knight takes knight, it became stronger because there's a pin. This pawn is actually pinned because of the bishop on a5 hits the rook on e1 if that pawn isn't in the way. So after knight takes knight, he can't even take back. So I took the knight, and he came out with the queen. And I was a little bit worried here, but there's this move c6, which defends the bishop and blocks the check. So it's one move that does two jobs. So that's how one way you can deal with a fork. You know, he's attacking two things at once. But if you have one move that solves both problems, defends against the check and defends the bishop, then you're in great shape. There was one kind of interesting line here. The computer says you don't have to play c6. You could even play b5. So this is crazy. I just wanted to show you guys this. b5. And if he takes the bishop, his best move is to retreat. But if he takes the bishop, then you have this move knight f3 check. And you're giving a piece back, right? First of all, you took a knight here, and then you gave a bishop back, so it's even material. But then after here, if he takes back, he's down a piece. But the interesting thing is, well, the reason why this is dangerous is because this g file is basically open after rook takes g7. He's opened it up by taking the knight, and then this pawn was never defended. So his king is in big trouble here. King runs the corner, and the queen comes to d5, and knight d2, queen here, threatening checkmate on that square on g2, and no way to stop it. The computer, well, there is a way to stop it. The computer recommends queen takes b5 check, which forces the loss of a queen on white. So you can stop it by giving up your queen, but that's hardly a valid way to stop. Anyway, the move c6 was good enough, defending the bishop and blocking the check. And you can see I'm just winning here. So he tried c takes d4, and I took the rook. And then he still needs to bring his queen back for defense, but he's still trying to attack. So he develops his knight, maybe going after this pawn. Maybe that's the idea. And plus the bishop, the knight had no good squares along this diagonal because of the bishop. But that allows this pretty strong move, queen takes d4, with a double attack. It's attacking the rook, and it's attacking the pawn on f2. And I'm guessing he overlooked the attack on f2 because he played rook b1, and then it's just queen takes f2 check, king h1, and queen f1 mate. So that's game over, a pretty quick game, and the second loss in a row for the Evans gambit. I lost as white, and now I win as black. But it's still a playable gambit, and you just got to, I guess, not make mistakes. I think, well, I don't have the times here, but he made this move kind of quickly. The e5 he thought about for a while, but the real mistake here, knight takes d4, I think he made that move kind of quickly, and really that's one move you need to stop and think about what's going to happen if my opponent takes that knight. And then maybe you would find the stronger move, bishop to g5. Because even this line, there are probably better lines in the Evans gambit than this. Like I said, I prefer bishop a3 and not going into a line that exchanges so much material. But even this line is still playable for white. But you got to play the good moves. Okay, so that's it on the Evans gambit. Hopefully we'll get a different game next time. And sorry, I'm just meant to go to the end of the game there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and leave any comments you have in the section below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.